Good morning, and welcome to a special edition of In and Around Lake Forest. I'm Steve Smith, and I'm bringing this to you today so that you can get a sneak preview of the keynote speaker that we're going to be having for our annual Business Expo on June 9th. His name is Larry Broughton, and he was with us last year, and he did a wonderful job in talking about what it takes to become a successful entrepreneur. This year, what we've asked him to do is come back and talk to us a little bit about the lessons he's learned on the way up. Larry is the CEO of Broughton Hotels, which is a specialty hotel management company with properties all around the country. He's also a special forces veteran, and he does a lot of work with veterans that are trying to get into business. He's really, really good at that. He's written books. He speaks all around the country. He's got a lot going on. So we're really, really happy to have him here today to talk a little bit about himself and what he plans to talk about at our Business Expo. So let's bring Larry on and introduce him.
Oh, well, hello there.
There you go. Hey, look, I know, look, you're running hard and you got a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me sometimes that, things get crossed, but hey, you're here today, right?
I'm here today. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you very much for being with us today. And I'm really, really happy that you're going to be able to be our keynote speaker for our annual business conference here coming up on June 9th. So I kind of teed you up before I brought you on, so everybody would know, who you are if they've not met you. And so let's just start off by, give everybody a sense of who you are, because you've got a really interesting background that led you into what you're doing today. And I think it's really helpful if people kind of know the man behind the legend, so to speak.
Well, Steve, I had a journalist describe me one time as a schizophrenic entrepreneur. I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but it does make me laugh. I think what he was talking about is that I've got a lot of different interests, right? I'm not just, there are a lot of people, Steve, who talk about stay hyper-focused, and that works for some people who can be hyper-focused, but I have a lot of different interests, Steve. And so I think what oftentimes a lot of people like to hear about is I grew up in a very small rural community in New York, Western New York, and ultimately made my way into the Army. I spent about 9 years in the military, a little over that, 9 years in the Army, and about 8 of those were on Special Forces A teams, the Green Berets. And then I made this weird transition. Somehow I made it into the hotel industry. Like, how do you go from being a Green Beret to owning a hotel company? Right?
It's a natural path, Larry.
Exactly. I had it all charted out, Steve. Right. So I ended up finding my way into the hotel industry, grew my way up. I started as a night auditor while I was working in different political campaigns with aspirations of maybe getting into the State Department or something like that. And then realized after spending a few years doing that, I just don't have a thick enough skin to do it. I don't have the patience to do it. And integrity is pretty important to me. And I just felt like there's too much compromising of integrity, not compromising of deal points. That's different, but compromising of one's integrity to accomplish whatever the agenda is. That's dangerous as far as I'm concerned. And so I said, I'm not going to do the political thing. I was falling in love with the hotel industry. And so that's kind of what happened. I became a partner in that company, spent about 14 years doing that. Realized I was a primary leader stuck in a secondary leadership role. And so I charted out on my own. And since then, Steve, I've launched a bunch of other different companies, received a bunch of awards, started doing keynote speaking, doing a bunch of TV appearances on MSNBC and Fox.
I forgot about that. Yeah, what was that called? Hotel
Impossible. I did a bunch of episodes there. I was on MSNBC's Your Business pretty regularly with JJ Ramberg is the host. And so I did a bunch of that for a while. Loved that. And you and I were actually talking about a potential TV concept recently. So anyway, so that's what I do. My life is now dedicated to serving entrepreneurs, leaders, and high achievers move closer to their fullest potential. Cool. And so whatever that falls under, book writing, article writing, keynote speeches, mentoring, running my own businesses.
Well, look, so your topic is called Lessons Learned on the Way Up. And I found that interesting because a lot of times you can read people's blogs or white papers or their published books on the lessons they learned, but they don't always tell you where they ended up as a result of it. And you clearly ended up on top in a lot of the things that you do.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure that the lessons you learned as you kind of ascended to that spot were keys in helping you continue on and make better decisions as you went. So can you kind of give us a little bit of a preview as to some of the things you might be talking about when we meet next Friday?
Yeah, I'll give away the punchline now. It's a good marketing tip, right?
Yeah.
Well, this won't be a surprise to some of your folks who have been on the entrepreneurial journey or in the leadership realm for very long. Is that the way I kind of equate the journey towards quote unquote success, and I'm using quotation marks around success because
Right.
one of my things, Steve, and you've probably heard me say this before, is if you want to lead a life of success, stop chasing success. Stop chasing success, but instead strive for a life of significance. Play a significant role in the lives of your family members, of your team members, of your church, of your community, whatever it is. Just serve people. Play a significant role. Success is the byproduct of a life of significance. We're going to talk about the power of tenacity and a couple other tips on it. But we're going to go on a little bit of a wild ride. I think we're going to talk, or I'm going to talk, and then you and I are going to do a little fireside chat, I think, and you're going to ask me a couple of questions. We get the audience participating if they want, and I think it'll be a fun time.